Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the SVT podcast. I am in the driver's seat. My name is Vince, and I'm hanging out with my boys Sam and Tyler. How's it going, fellas?
What's up, man?
What's up, Vince? What's up, Tyler? Tim?
And we also have Tim on the ones and twos. Is it a 1 or a 2 today?
Oh man,
a 2, a number 2.
Yeah, it was
a number 2.
It
Like
was
a
a
pencil?
1. It was a 1 last time, so that's why I just wanted to clarify.
It's a 2. It's a 2. I'm
It's a 2.
very jazzed about what's going to be talked about today. So yeah, it's a 2.
It's a 2, solid 2. Love it. It's not, we're gonna move on. Okay, so
Moving on.
on
It's
the
a
docket
deuce.
today, we're talking NFL, we're talking scores, and there was a lot of stuff that happened in the NFL. We'll dig into it. We're gonna check in on MLB real quick with the A's and the Giants, and also we got home runs to talk, and I mean a whole bunch of other stuff too. There was a scandal in the NBA with the Suns owner. We're gonna go all into it. But first up, we're going to talk NFL, and we're going to go over the scores real quick. Kansas City on Thursday night beat the Chargers 27-24. New Orleans fell to Tampa Bay on Sunday 20-10. A lot of Tom Brady basically instigating a fight in that one, and then got Mike Evans ejected. So that was a mess. Detroit beat Washington 36-27. New York Giants outlast Carolina 19-16. Miami in a wild game over Baltimore 42-38. The New York Jets, just when we thought they were done, they actually come back and beat Cleveland 31-30. Jacksonville was all over Indianapolis 24-0. New England survives against Pittsburgh 17-14. The Rams beat the Falcons 31-27. Denver eventually pulls it out and gets the win over Houston 16-9. Dallas beats Cincinnati 20-17. And in Sunday night game, Green Bay beat Chicago 27-10. And that brings us to me and Sam's teams. The Raiders fell in overtime to the Arizona Cardinals 29-23. Sam, what's going on, bud?
That is the absolute most disappointing loss I think I have ever witnessed as a Raiders fan, ever, all time.
Really? Like all time?
Not the Snow Bowl tuck
All
game,
time?
but not the Super Bowl, but like a regular season game. That's the largest lead they've ever blown. That's a franchise record that they blew that game. That's
They
a
were up
historical event.
20-0 at
happened.
half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr, when you have a stat that your quarterback didn't touch the field for 30 minutes.
This is true. Hey,
Closer to 40.
I wanted to let you know,
Dude.
I heard a stat during the Green Bay game that made me really think about your team, and that the Green Bay kicker is the all-time leading scorer for the Packers, and it really brought me back to Sebastian Janikowski and the Raiders.
That's not uncommon though, that kickers lead, like what's his name? Anderson for the Vikings is like their all-time leading scorer, because all those extra points and field goals. So it's not uncommon. I get what you're saying. Sebastian Janikowski is the all-time leader in Raiders points, but the odds, every extra point. So every time Tim Brown or Jerry Rice or James Jett or whoever caught a touchdown, Sebastian Janikowski most likely got a point too because of that extra kick. So that's not uncommon.
I just want to throw fuel into the fire. I will have I'm watching my Eagles play right now, so I'm kind of absolved from anything going forward NFL wise for today.
For now. No, it was just an absolute shit show. The first half they looked pretty good. Josh McDaniels came here as a offensive guru, boy genius 2.0 all over again, and the offense looked stagnant. They were stuck in 3rd and longs in the second half. When you have 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, you're not going. That's really hard to convert. Every 3rd down when it's a 3rd and long. Like pretty much the second half they were in 3rd and long, and the defense. I think the defense is improved. But when your defense is out there for close to 40 minutes, you're going to be gassed. So when they went into overtime, that in the fourth quarter and then into overtime, that defense was exhausted. You know, there was I don't know about there was the holding call in the end zone in the fourth quarter that was going to be a fourth down. It was going to be a turnover on downs, and the Raiders defensive back got called for holding, I believe. Even the commentator, I forget the color commentator on that broadcast, but even he was saying that was kind of a bad call because Kyler Murray broke the pocket and was scrambling around. And the rule is once the quarterback starts scrambling around and gets out of those hash marks, you could put hands on him. You know, you could start grabbing and doing things like that to the wide receiver. So that color commentator thought that was kind of a bad call. When you look at the replay, I thought it was kind of a bad call, but I'm a little biased over here. Either way, the decision of the final score of the game did not come down to that play. You know, that play did not define the game. It was the offense. This loss is on Josh McDaniels. He did not game plan well enough against an Arizona defense that's not really, I mean, they got a couple of players, you know, but it's not like this is a top 5 defense. And you couldn't even move the chains.
My argument with you, not argument, my agreement with you more or less, but the argument of what the Raiders could have done was that the biggest takeaway I can take is that if you're an offensive guru, like your head coach is, why is Adams, your top wide receiver that you went out and went to go get? Yes, he got a touchdown. Why does he only have 12 yards for the whole game receiving wise?
Well, even worse, it was like, what was it? It was like 4 targets or 5 targets or something like that. I mean, they weren't even, you know, a lot of that you could say they were maybe trying to use him as a decoy. Hollins was having a pretty decent game, but you know, on these 3rd and longs, you also have Darren Waller, and you have you know, I know Renfro is getting a lot of heat today because he fumbled twice in the overtime, and he's in the concussion protocol. So if this offense is going to roll, if this offense is going to be what we thought it would be, you're going to need Hunter Renfro. He had a bad game. He had a bad fourth quarter, overtime. We know about the fumbles, but those were big hits. I don't think any wide receiver would have held onto the ball. Those were massive hits by the Arizona defense.
He's in the concussion protocol because of that second hit. Like he got absolutely obliterated on that.
So, I mean, he's a solid wide receiver. It sucks that it happened to him, but I don't think any wide receiver in that same position would have held onto that ball. Those were powerhouse hits. He got drilled. So I don't really blame him for it. Derek Carr, I mean, he's the starting quarterback. You're going to get overly ripped and you're going to get overly praised for whatever the franchise is doing. But Derek Carr is supposed to take this leap. You know, we've been defending him for so long. There was quite a bit of throws, especially on these 3rd and long throws, where he wasn't accurate. Unfortunately, the past 2 games that I've seen Derek Carr, he started the game, I think 14 of 15, something like that. But the second half, he did not look accurate at all. The ball placement was not very good.
It's also hard when you're not on the field for allotment of time. 30 minutes was one of the biggest ones, but that's very hard to be in warm, in rhythm, and then you're not at all because you're not on the field.
He's not on the field. I give him that. The offensive line is terrible. This might be the worst offensive line that he's had in his Raider career. This offensive line is not very good. They can't really stop anything, especially on the edge. I mean, they're just getting demolished on the right side. So I don't know. I mean, I in the words of what's his name, Review Bra, the fast food guy, I am disappointed and my day is ruined. So I mean, that's pretty much all I got on the Raiders. They're playing Tennessee next week. Tennessee's a physical football team, and I hope the Raiders win, but it's on the road. I would not be surprised if this team is 0-3. That's not my official prediction just yet, but if you are down Hunter Renfrow and you look this bad 2 weeks in, you better start playing with your hair on fire from here on out, because you can't go 0-3 in this division. And if you go 0-3, at best, you're looking at a wild card. And I think, if you're going 1-4, 1-5, playoffs are out of the question. The AFC is too loaded to start off 1-3, 1-4. No way in hell you're coming back.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, I mean, not the Eagles, the Raiders just need to take it one game at a time. My biggest fear is that they're good enough offensively that they will lead a lot of games. It's, will they get the yips and that fear coming in that they'll blow it like they've done twice now? So they just need to win the fourth quarter and get that confidence back. And I think the Raiders will be on the right path. Tennessee's going to be a tough match. Currently, Tennessee's losing 17-7 in the third quarter. So, if they end up losing that game, they're going to come out like gangbusters, just like the Raiders are. So it'll be a tough matchup, but it'll be an interesting matchup for next week for sure.
Yep. That's all I got for the Raiders. So if we need to move on, we can.
All right. Yeah, we can move on. Now it's my turn. The 49ers beat Seattle 27-7, but that is not the story coming out of that game.
It feels like a loss.
Yeah, it certainly does. The way everybody's talking, it's there's all kinds of chaos happening right now. Trey Lance.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because we know by the time all the people are listening to this, we know about Trey Lance. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's done for the year.
Yep. He's
Let's
had
reset,
the surgery.
Because you're the 49er guy.
Yep.
Let's reset.
Okay.
You were not a supporter of Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yep.
So how do you feel right now? How did you feel when Trey Lance broke his ankle and was carted off the field? What was that moment? Because I didn't talk to you about this.
That moment was an absolute gut punch. It was like, it was totally like I was feeling a lot of things. I was feeling terrible for Trey Lance, knowing that this was his opportunity to really develop and, take that next step and become possibly a top tier quarterback. And unfortunately now you got a guy who's made 4 starts, only finished 3 of those games, going into his 3rd year on a rookie contract. And the rookie contract for a quarterback, that's when a lot of teams are able to make that big move and make the push for the Super Bowl. So right now the 49ers are, they're in trouble. It's kind of rough. And I think the Niners had a better chance of winning the Super Bowl with Trey Lance, assuming that he was able to develop and get better as we expected, because Trey Lance's ceiling is a lot higher than Jimmy Garoppolo's ceiling. And that's what I was so excited for. And that ceiling is gone now.
You think that ceiling was going to top Jimmy Garoppolo, what he did in the past in less than a season?
It was possible. It was in the realm of possible.
Crazy person talk, Vince.
No.
That's
it's
crazy.
Not crazy.
You're taking crazy pills.
It's not crazy, because Trey Lance's skill set is a lot better. His ceiling for what he is capable of doing,
with you.
The deep balls that we were able to see from Trey Lance were a lot better. And I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo missed Brandon Ayuk on a wide open one in this very game. So I mean, Jimmy has his limitations. He's good enough. He's capable of getting to the playoffs and making some noise in the playoffs. But we have that good Jimmy, bad Jimmy that we talked about back in December and January. And I am not excited for living this life again. I'm going to live it. I'm going to be cheering for him because I'm a hypocrite, and that's okay because I'm a fan. I'm allowed to be. But
before Sam says anything, I just want to step in here. I will appreciate what Vince has done, is doing. He is defending and did defend, because we've been in some group chats together, and he is defending and will defend Trey Lance to the end, which You should. You know, that's your
fine.
franchise quarterback. The
Totally
49ers.
fine.
But
He's
hold
the
on,
number
hold
3
on,
pick.
hold on. And I agree with that. Now, where I disagree is that I don't know to put that ceiling on Trey Lance. I think that's a little too much for me. That's like me trying to put the ceiling on the Eagles here to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I would love to see it happen. Now,
I'm not saying it was definitely going to happen. I'm just saying it was in the range of outcomes. It was a realistic range of outcomes. The Niners with Trey Lance could have been winning the Super Bowl this year. In fact, I picked them to do it based on Trey Lance because I saw that ceiling being high enough and him making those deep plays that you need to make to be able to, take some pressure off the running game, take some pressure off of the short intermediate pass game as well. And that's
and I
now
also
out
picked the
window.
49ers in the Super Bowl with the
I did not.
starting quarterback of Jimmy fucking G.
I did not.
Because
I just want to go on record.
knew-
I picked Bengals and Rams.
Yeah,
We
Bengals
knew-
is not looking so good of a pick right now. For
Yeah,
you,
I
bud.
am dealing with that.
we knew, unfortunately, like I'm not a 49er fan. I'm not a 49er hater. I watch a lot of 49ers. My brother's a 49er fan. Vince, you're a 49er fan. They're always on. There's a lot of coverage. We live in the Bay Area. So I follow the 49ers closely. And the number one thing that we all suspected of Trey Lance was he going to be healthy? And we had this suspicion. So I really looked at Trey Lance like they're running him. And what's frustrating is Kyle Shanahan said, was it last year, that he's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback that has the ability to run. And then when you compile all the quarters that he played in and then the starts, what is it, like 4 games or something of that nature?
4 total games he started, but yeah, 3 and a quarter that he actually played.
Right. So, he's averaging in those games 12 rushes a game. If he's not a running quarterback, why are you giving him the ball 12 times in a power run? That makes no sense.
Yeah, the power run that he got hurt on, it was almost identical to the power run that he ran. That Trey Lance ran on like a 3rd and 6, but they ran it on like a second down, I think.
That same play was the same play that Debo broke off for like a 30 or 40 yard gain. That was the exact same play. There was options that were given to that, but I get where Sam's coming to. You have one of the best fullbacks in the game. Literally, you have the only fullback in the game. Why isn't the fullback? I don't know. It's a lot to ask for. Now,
you put Trey Lance in a position. You had him run the ball in a power run, and he had nowhere to go with the ball. You didn't have an option for him to slide. If it was a design run, it needs to be something where he has the ability to get out of bounds or the ability to slide. And you took away that ability. That's on coaching. And when the coach has come out and repeatedly said he doesn't want to run the ball like he's Lamar Jackson, because that's a completely different specimen. Jackson's a completely different, rare, generational athlete. What you're seeing is we may never see that again. That is rare stuff to be that
Michael
good.
Vick.
No, he as a runner and a passer, he's doing this faster than Michael Vick. Michael Vick was not the passer he was when he was with the Eagles, when he was with the Falcons. He was a better runner with the Falcons who could throw the ball. When he went to the Eagles, he was a passer who can run the ball.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that.
It took longer for Vic. Yeah.
What his MVP season, Jackson, went 3,500 passing and 1,000 rushing.
Yeah.
I would
Trey
say your
Lance
closest
is not that.
Yeah, your
He's
closest thing would
not
be
Josh Allen is the ceiling comp.
Yeah, but even the 49ers with Kaepernick wasn't an accurate thrower, but a deep ball thrower and a running athlete, like that would probably be your closest that we had to Lamar Jackson.
Now, my point to Vince would be, how would you feel if Trey Lance got hurt and you go to this other stable of backup quarterbacks? Your season is over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it was Brock Purdy,
your
the
season's
over.
You're probably a top 3 pick all over again.
Yep, absolutely. And when I was estimating the season, I figured Trey Lance was probably going to miss a game or two because of, injuries or whatnot. I was not expecting the season ender in the second week. That's really rough. And when I was thinking of him missing a game or two, I was thinking you can survive with Brock Purdy for a game or two. But now that it's a full season, in hindsight alone, I see the value of having Jimmy Garoppolo there. I get it. And Brock Purdy was just not good enough to give Mike Shanahan, give Kyle Shanahan the benefit of the doubt, like to give him the confidence to say, yeah, we can roll with that. They saw Brock Purdy and they said, we need to keep Jimmy.
Well, I hope you see the value. He cost you a pretty penny to keep him on the roster.
Well, yeah, he actually the way the contract broke down, the way they restructured his contract, so it's just this year. He got a base of 6.5 or something like that, but he's gonna get $250K every start now going forward. So I think
you're
talking that's 4 million,
like 16, 17 million max.
Yeah, so it's a bargain deal for a starting quarterback. That's a pretty fair deal for a starting quarterback. So he's gonna end up getting, assuming he doesn't miss a game, he's gonna get another 4 million, just $250K for 16 games. And then he's also and every win is another 100K. So if the Niners go 10-7 by the end of the year, he's responsible for this first win. So he'll that's another mil right there. That's 11. And then you talk into like the statistics incentives. So he's probably going to get, I think his max was like 17 or whatever he could top out at. I think he'll probably be in the 15 range, something like that.
I'm not a Trey Lance hater. I was hoping for the guy when they drafted him. I was actually excited that they got him because he has the potential to be a very exciting player. All the reasons that Vince outlined. I do not think that was going to happen this year. I think next year was maybe the year that you can say like, wow, this guy is something special. But it took some of the best. It took Josh Allen a couple of years to become the passer that he is right now. So for me to say, oh, Trey Lance is going to develop into that type of passer in essentially his first year of starting since college, because of the COVID year, he only got the 1 start, 2 starts or something like that. So he hasn't started really in 2+ years. So for him to develop into the passer that Josh Allen or anything comparable in his rookie season, essentially, that's like James Wiseman coming back this year and being Hakeem Olajuwon. That's crazy.
No, I hear you on that. I may have been getting a little ahead of myself.
So I thought he was going to be good. I did not think the injury was going to happen this quick, but when I saw that we saw that, he was starting to run the ball, I did not think he was going to hold up. And I'm thankful that Jimmy G is on the roster because I look at it like this. If Trey Lance is done, you just wasted a year for Bosa. You just wasted a year for all of the players, for George Kittle, for all the vet, for
Debo, and for
Debo. What's the
Fred
offensive
Warner?
lineman? The offensive lineman,
Trent Williams. Yeah,
Trent Williams. How much more does he have left? He doesn't have 5 years. This year, next year, maybe.
I think he's probably got 3. But
but
that's
he doesn't
optimistic.
have a lot left. So to say like, let's get rid of Jimmy, get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to roll with Trey Lance, and then this injury happens. Do you think it's fair to those guys to waste a year of their career because you don't know if you're ever getting back? There's no guarantee. I mean, we talked about this before with the Buffalo Bills. They went to 4 straight, and then they have maybe this year they're the favorites this year. But I mean, look at the money line. Jimmy G changed the money line with the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. So as a 49er fan, I'm not a fan, but I'm saying as the fan base, I am not in support of people that are happy that Trey Lance is hurt. That's bullshit. I'm not happy about that. I don't support that. What I'm happy about is they have a solid quarterback that could still make those dreams a reality for the players that are currently on the roster. I never support injury. I don't celebrate injury, but I'm glad that the 49ers have the insurance policy in Jimmy G.
Let's play the devil's advocate here. Let's just say, I'm not going to do the Super Bowl run, but let's just say they make it pretty far in the playoffs. And we can convincingly say it was Jimmy G who helped this team get there and not more the defense helped them get there. Although I'm kind of leaning towards the season reality, probably more the defense will get them there. But let's just say convincingly Jimmy G got them to the playoffs, high in the playoffs, and they got eliminated. In your opinion, Vince, what's the conversation going forward? Is it still Trey Lance's team, or does that create more drama than it ever was when Trey Lance got hurt on week 2?
I think this is a chance for Jimmy to get another $100 million paycheck from another team. I think that's what's going to end up happening if your situation plays out. The Niners make a nice run into the playoffs. Jimmy, like I look at what, Marcus Mariota got a starting job with the Falcons. I could see some
suck, but
I mean, there's going to be a few teams that are going to need a quarterback. I'm looking at Indianapolis. Matt Ryan looks like shit.
He's
right
done.
Now.
Like he looks like Ben Roethlisberger. That's what he looks like.
He looks cooked. Okay, so I mean, Indianapolis. That's a team that you think they're possibly in a similar situation to the Niners, where they're like they have a lot of good pieces. They have a good defense, but like
their O-line is garbage.
The O-line is it's basura. So I mean, there's going to be teams like Indianapolis that are going to need a quarterback, and I think that they'll be willing to overpay a little bit for another retread. And that's what Jimmy is at this point. He'll be a retread for another team. And I think the Niners are going to go looking for a cheaper veteran quarterback option as a backup.
There's only one way
Lance.
he comes back. There's only one way. The 49ers win the Super Bowl
with
Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the only way.
Yeah. Agreed.
At that point, that's the only way. And Jimmy has to be a reason. He can't Trent Dilfer his way to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah. It would have to be Jimmy won those games and then won that Super Bowl. It can't be the defense won that.
The year they went to the Super Bowl and lost. If they win that Super Bowl, they don't draft Trey Lance.
They do not.
They're just going to ride it out. So, I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about Kyle Shanahan a little bit because some stuff was resurfacing about Kyle Shanahan in Washington back when they were the Redskins and his dad was the head coach. So you hear about this interview that resurfaced with Mike Shanahan talking about what happened with RG3 and that RG3 went to the coaching staff and said, I don't want to run the ball. And they were like, why don't you want to run the ball? And he goes, what was the other quarterback? Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins was there.
Kirk Cousins doesn't run the option. Why do I? And they said, because Kirk Cousins doesn't run the option. He's never ran it. He's a pure passer. Eventually we would love for you to be a pure passer, but right now you run the option. And then Mike Shanahan, said, we're going to have you run the option. And pretty much almost immediately, that's when the injury started to mount up for RG3. We know how that played out. His career is over. But I'm kind of concerned a little bit. I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan is glad that he got hurt or celebrating he got hurt, but he's been getting a lot of heat. Kyle Shanahan's now getting a lot of heat for the post-game conference because he was just cold turkey about it. It seemed like he didn't really give a shit. We don't know the details. We're not in the locker room, but some of the insiders are saying some of this stuff. What's your view on this? What's your view on Kyle Shanahan, Vince, right now?
Right now, I'm a little bit suspicious of Kyle at this point. I mean, I kind of have to be. I don't. Yeah. I'm starting to wonder. You bring up the RG3 stuff. I don't know if he knows how to utilize somebody who's capable of being a running type quarterback. Because I mean, he just ground RG3 into the ground, and that's kind of what was
Literally.
starting to happen with Trey Lance before this injury too. I mean, he only had 4 chances to do it, so I don't want to go that far that was definitely happening. But I start to wonder, can he develop somebody into a passer who has skills? I mean, RG3 was not some schmuck. He was a first round pick, and he played really well that first year. He got Washington into the playoffs and out of nowhere. So I look at can he do it? Can he develop a quarterback? I don't know if he can develop a quarterback.
My final question about the 49ers would be, do you think it's time that the 49ers ownership remove the final, because Kyle Shanahan's been able to decide the roster, decide the draft picks. Essentially, John Lynch works for him. Is the power chain, is Kyle Shanahan's on top? Do you think it's time to remove this general manager from Kyle Shanahan and just allow him to focus on coaching and stop picking, the draft picks?
I think so. I think it's probably, yeah, we need Kyle to focus on coaching stuff. And I get that you want to, if you're the chef, you want to be able to buy the ingredients for the stew, but at a certain point, it's not working out, at least for the skill positions right now. We look at Trey Lance, and I don't know. I don't see the value looking back, moving up from 12 to 3. You could have probably still gotten Mac Jones at 12, if you really wanted to get pocket,
who might
wanted
fit
to get a
better,
pocket passer,
who might fit better into the Kyle Shanahan system.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. If it's tough to look back, and I'm not trying to do that too much. It's just an unfortunate situation. I think we need to talk about a different unfortunate situation right now, just real quick in the NFL. We'll call this an extra point NFL specific. The NFL on Thursday, the 15th, they unleashed their Hispanic Heritage Month announcement, and it was a shit show. They basically just took the NFL logo, put it in like black and gray, and then did the little tilde over the N. See, now it's Spanish. It has the Enya.
Okay, that's what that was, because I was like, what is going on here?
It was embarrassing. It's like, I don't know who the hell is in charge of PR at the NFL, but wasn't there one brown person in the building to go, hey, guys, I don't know that that's the best idea. I mean, and if there is, did they even bother listening to him or give him an input, give her an
Where
input?
were you?
Wait, Vince, did you say
Sam? Where were you?
Say one or Juan?
One.
I mean, they could have had Juan.
One.
Yeah.
Juan.
Yeah.
Juan.
It's gonna be a running bit, so just keep rolling with it, because it's gonna be happening all season.
God, it's an absolute clown show. Roger Goodell is exactly who we think he is. He's I'm disgusted, and I can't even, I can't odd, and I can't fucking fraction over this. It's okay.
Can we just laugh at it? Is it okay just to laugh at it?
Yeah,
sure.
It's fucking stupid. Let's laugh at it. I mean, I laughed at it in disbelief on Thursday when I saw it. It's ridiculous, and it's highly offensive. Okay. I think that covers that, and I think we've exhausted our NFL talk.
Well, why don't you go for something controversial to an NBA controversy that I'm very curious about.
Here we go. Yeah, so let's talk NBA real quick. Suns owner Robert Sarver has been, it was a $10 million fine, and he's got a 1-year suspension.
Yes.
And Tyler, let's talk details. What's happened? Do you have that pulled up for us? Or
I don't, but I can just tell you off the top of my dome here that he is as a workforce, he's very sexist, and by sexist, I mean kind of borderline. Well, he's not borderline. He's racist at the same time. He's come out on the record and said that women don't belong in certain roles and position. They belong in a certain position, and it's below me. Like, there's things of that nature that has been said by Robert Sarver. There's also been certain choice racist words that have been used. There's been documents of players saying that he came into the locker room and just flew out the N-word left and right with a hard R, not a soft A here going on. So, Robert Sarver is a POS in my life, and I think as an owner, I'm not a minority. I'm the owner. He needs to be removed, and there has been majority owners that have asked for his resignation. It's been a long time coming. There was a tweet that I saw from LeBron James saying that the NBA did this wrong by Robert Sarver. And I kind of got upset, but then I read the rest of the tweet. And basically what he was saying was that a 1-year suspension, a $10 million fine, that's nothing to a multi-billionaire or to a guy who doesn't even go to the games. He maybe goes once a year, So I think it's right that he needs to be suspended indefinitely and needs to sell the team. And a $10 million suspension is a slap on the wrist for a guy who's multi-billionaire. So Robert Sarver needs to be relinquished of his role as owner of the Phoenix Suns.
I agree with you, but you know what? LeBron James is not the fucking person that I'm going to take civil discourse approval or decisions from when he is talking about all this Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, which, we all support. We're all pretty liberal on the show. But then when you all of a sudden don't know anything about human rights when it came to Hong Kong and China, then, clearly he shut up because of his paycheck. And a lot of
100%.
NBA players shut up because of the paycheck, because
100%.
their shoes and the merch is made over there. And then China banned them. So the only person, and I don't even like this person, but the only person that was right in the NBA was Daryl Morey. Because he was the one that criticized what was going on over there.
100%.
He stood with Hong Kong.
But like it or not, LeBron James is still the face of the NBA. Like it or not. We like to think Steph Curry is because we're biased. And I think he does have a hierarchy up there. But like it or not, LeBron James is still the face of the NBA.
Yeah, Steph Curry is a face of the NBA. LeBron, as long as he's still playing or still involved in the league, is the face. I would agree to that. So that brings up, way back when Donald Sterling was the former owner of the Clippers, and he was essentially forced out of the league. And so I'm wondering, why wasn't Robert Sarver forced out for this comment here? Because
the Phoenix Suns didn't rally around like they did against the Clippers, and what I mean by that is that they boycotted games. The Clippers didn't want to play games. The Clippers didn't want to show up.
There was that game where the Warriors were playing the Clippers.
It was the playoff game, yeah.
It was a playoff game, and then we're going to come out. However, Chris Paul and Phoenix Suns players have come out and said he should sell the team. So we don't really know how this is going to play out. If they season starts and they're not going to take the court, I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, okay. I suspect that this was the this 1-year suspension is an opportunity for the NBA to try to find a new owner for the.
Well, it's also on Chris Paul too, and what I mean by that is that Chris Paul is also the head of the NBA Player Association Union. So Chris Paul headed the one for the Clippers. Essentially, it just kind of oddly fell in his lap again that he needs to head this one again.
Tim, you were saying something.
Yeah. I mean, it might be controversial, but it's like, obviously everything that this guy has said from a business perspective, you're just not treating your employees right. You're not treating, the club right. But is he a good owner? Just from a business perspective, is he providing for his team? Is he making sure
the team happens to be winning now, but I mean they've been bottom dwellers, fairly recently as well. The Phoenix Suns are a bit of peaks and valleys in their history. They've never actually won a championship, but okay. I mean they came close in the 90s.
But he wasn't. Was
Steve
he
Kerr.
the owner? Was he the owner when like the Steve Nash years? Was he?
Yes.
How far does he go back?
Sarver was the owner. I will tell you this. Sarver. God, I just fuck, this sucks. But Tim, I'm inclined to say that yes, he made the right choice with hiring James Jones as the GM, and James Jones has made positions of finding players and acquisitions. So I will give him that, and that's as far as I will give him, that he hired the correct GM that was needed for the Suns to put them where they're at now. But outside of that, anyone could have hired him. And Sarver, though he takes the responsibility of doing that and the credit for that, it's really hard for me to agree with anything else that he does other than that.
Yeah, because obviously I don't know the guy. I had just heard of his name this week, and I was just
know him. He's a dick.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like
we're friends.
Somebody can be a dick. Somebody can call people names and all that kind of stuff. But if they do the job, it's like, well, I mean, yeah, they're an asshole, but like if they're doing their job and they're doing it well, it's like, I guess they can remain an asshole if they got all the money.
I think that stands true if you're an asshole in the sense of like you're difficult to work around or you push people to the edge because, I'm in the construction industry where you got guys that are like, there's certain managers in the world where like, come on, let's keep going. Like, what do you need to take a break for? Where you get stuff done, you're kind of difficult, but then when you're done with a big project, they buy you a big lunch and you get a big barbecue and, there's kind of that boss that it's kind of rough to work around, but they take care of you at the end, or, you get a couple days off when it's all done, But when it comes to like being an asshole, that's like being an asshole. But then there's like being racist and sexist, which no amount of winning is a deodorant for being a racist, sexist person. And, so from what I understand from the few articles that I read, is that he's been asked by his sphere of influence, by leadership of the Phoenix Suns, that said, you're saying things that are inappropriate in the workspace. You can't go around saying the N-word, even if it's in translation, even if it's saying person A was talking to person B and he called them expletive. You can't, even in passing. Okay, maybe the first time we can understand that. Now and you shouldn't do that anymore. He continued to do it, and then it was about women, and then it was back to race, and then it's a long. There's quite a few accounts of this, not just in the past year, 2 years.
We're talking back to 2004.
Right. This is decades. Okay. And if you're doing this for this long and you're not changing, then this is who you are. And that's not being an asshole. That's being a racist, and that's being sexist. So I understand your point, but I don't think it's here. I don't think it's for Sarver.
Well, yeah, just because of the climate that we're living in right now, I was just like, okay, how sensitive are people being about this, and how long has it been going on? And so having context definitely matters. So
I will tell you this though, Tim, that like what the Clippers did in getting him, the owner, out, I think it's easier done in the demographics of Los Angeles than it is probably in the demographics of Phoenix, Arizona.
I agree.
So
true. There is that.
It's not that maybe
also
the Phoenix Suns haven't tried, because they probably have the players, but it's maybe a little bit more difficult to climb that mountain than it would be to do in a LA setting.
Also, too, the Clippers stink. They were terrible.
But they had two players out. PG was out, and Leonard was out. So
no, I'm talking about the entirety.
Yeah.
That
Sterling's
franchise
ownership was terrible.
Hey, Billy Crystal's their number one fan, though.
The doggest of shits. Like they were.
No,
it's
Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz is a big time.
Frankie Muniz is trying to buy parking lot and some for $1 million, which he has done.
Good for him. He's a good kid.
Yeah, out of bed.
He's still 12. You know, believe it or not.
Forever 12.
Yeah, he's been
Still
locked
stuck
in a
in the
time
middle.
capsule.
Stuck in the middle.
All right, I think we've talked enough about that jackass. Let's talk one more NBA note we have here. Steph Curry, our boy, he inked a lifetime deal with Under Armour worth up to $1 billion.
Yeah.
And get that money. And also, billionaires are bad. And so I was like a little heartbroken. It's like I imagine that kid, the meme with the kid with the gun who's crying. It looks like he shot his dog or whatever. Like me
with the Winnie the Pooh outfit going on here.
Yeah, me going, yeah, exactly. Me going, billionaires are bad. Steph Curry becomes a billionaire. Me like crying. Oh,
I don't know, man. If Steph Curry walks in front of me, I'm gonna fall in front of him and see if I can get a lawsuit out of it.
Dude, like a couple million will just fall out of his pockets. Like, oh, I don't know where else to put it. I'd put it in my pocket.
Here's $100,000 to get you to not make this a show. Like, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yes.
Can I be on Holy Moly, please?
Poor favor. Oh man.
No, good for him. Good for him. We say this all the time in the show. As a player, you only have so much life expectancy for your career. Go get your money any way you can. We ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
He just seems like a very cool dude. Just overall, a very cool dude. Good player. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. I got a couple of extra quick points about the Sharks real quick. Spring training preseason is starting. So the Sharks have unveiled new uniforms. They're going a lot more teal.
I hate them.
They're going teal hats, teal buckets, teal gloves. They're losing the orange strips and they're, replacing them with teal. That's going to be a lot more I don't want to go say full monotone, but like it is going to be a lot more teal, 14 teal. You hate them, Tyler.
I do. I think they feel 80-ish and old. I would have rather have been a retro alternate jersey. I hate it. I don't like it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're also coming out with like fanny packs too, like with neon. Yeah.
I would be interested if that was the case, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
That I'm fine with. I'm totally okay with fanny packs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want to like them more than I actually do. Like I'll admit, like I maybe if they win a bunch of games, I'll suddenly like them a lot more because then they're lucky. But I don't like them that much. I want to like them more. I really do, but I'm not there yet. I can't get myself there unless the team starts winning, and I don't know if they're going to do that this year.
Well, Tyler, didn't you during our our texts and stuff, I think you put up the the image of the hat and you were just like, it's just too bright. I can't stand it. It's too bright. Too much teal. Right?
Yeah, that's true. I think to me it feels very monochromatic or like very plain, and that to me gives me 80s vibes. Nothing to say against the 80s. I do like some 80s things, like I'm totally into, well, that's 90s, so never mind. I was gonna say the Padres uniform, but that's totally 90s.
I'm looking at them now. I think they look a little silly, but I think the only real gripe I have is the tubes across the belly.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hockey style.
Yeah. That makes them look really fat. Those are some fat sharks.
Yeah. What you're saying is that they should have been vertical stripes, not horizontal stripes.
Yeah. Well, I think if you just have the piping on the elbows is not too bad.
Yeah.
But on the belly, it looks a little weird. These are called the Evolve jerseys.
That's a traditional hockey look. And it's more traditional in the sense of like they were bigger people back then, and they also wanted to look bigger, because when you're skating down and you're getting hit by a dude who looks like he's bigger, you don't want to get hit by that guy. There was definitely a reason why those stripes were there. It was an intimidation factor, mostly produced by your Boston Bruins, but who I'm not going to say they were the original ones, but that was one of the reasons why they wanted it, because they wanted to look bigger in their uniform.
Well, I'm reading something here that it is with the teal helmet. is that it's supposed to honor a little bit of the seals.
That makes sense. In the 60s, I think it was.
Yeah.
Are we going back that far? Yeah, we are, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the
The
60s?
Seals were in the 60s. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, Oakland based for those of you who were unaware, or for the uninitiated.
Which is why
okay.
you got your Giants
Which
as
is
a seal.
me.
Yep, there we go. Okay, so that brings the hockey discussion to an end. So let's jump over to MLB real quick, and we have a home run check. Aaron Judge, before we started recording today, is at 59 homers. He's got 15-ish games to go. I think he's going to get to 60. I think he's going to get there. I think 62 is going to be in his rearview mirror within the next. By the time we're recording next week. And Albert Pujols is at 698, so he's got 15 games to get 2 more homers, hit
so
700.
close.
God, I
Yeah,
want
he's
him to
getting
get
it.
there so bad. And it's like, I mean, at this point, the way these guys are mashing, I would not be shocked at all if we were talking about both of those players having those 762 in the rearview mirror when we come to talk next week. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. So we're going to see how that shakes down when it happens. But I'm looking forward to that discussion because these are Aaron Judge is he's a MVP candidate. He's been playing his ass off all year, and the Yankees are going to be the number 2 seed in the American League in no small part because of Aaron Judge. And we're talking about an all-time great, Albert Pujols, who's just been a true ambassador of the game, somebody that a lot of people look up to and a lot of people love and respect. And I couldn't be happier for him to get there and for him to do it on the Cardinals too. It feels
the OG
justice.
10-year contract. If it wasn't for Pujols, 10-year contracts would not be a regular thing nowadays.
That's right. 10 years, $250 million from the Angels was what he signed back in the 2007 season, I believe, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. He went from wearing red and white to red and white.
No, it was 2010 season.
And he's back to wearing red and white.
Yep. There we are. So you have a note in here, Tyler, about your Padres. You're freaking out. You're a little nervous, a little shaky right now.
Yeah, a little butthole puckered.
Gosh.
Padres might be Q4 of the Raiders of the last half of the MLB season. They are currently second in the wild card spot, which is great. The problem that we're running into is that the Phillies, who, by the way, excuse me, where'd they come from? I have no idea. I didn't pay attention to them, and that's my fault. But the Padres are only
they got a
half game
manager
up. That manager, you mean the one that went to San Francisco or the new one?
No, the new one. They got a manager.
This is true.
They got a real one.
So the Padres are a half game up of the Phillies and only 2.5 up of Milwaukee, with how many games left? Like 17, 18 games left?
About 17 left for the Padres is what it looks like.
It's getting tight. Not all of us can be Mets fans and, just lock that in, real quick. But, I like to live my life on the edge. That's why I picked the Padres.
Yeah. Yeah, my Mets are in good shape, 93 and 55. They're, they're locked into the number 2 seed. So I'm feeling good about the Mets right now. You got a 2-game lead on the Braves. So the Braves are close, but you're either going to be the 2 seed or you're going to be the top wild card. Either way, that's a good spot to be in if you're the Mets. So yeah.
Why you gotta bring that up? Why you gotta bring up Matt Olson?
I didn't mean to. I didn't say the name. You said the name. Okay, so I mean, the Padres are still currently in the playoffs right now. The Brewers are the only team out on the outside looking in that could catch them. So they're 2 games out of the 3rd spot. So 2.5 back of the Padres.
And the Phillies. They're only a half game ahead.
They're they're a half game ahead of the Phillies, but even if you fall to the 6th seed, you're still in. You're still in the playoffs at 6 seed because 6 teams make the playoffs.
Oh, correct.
So they're, the Padres are still, they're still in good shape. They've won their last 3. They're 6-4 in the last 10. So it's not perfect, but it's probably good enough to get the job done over the last 2.5 weeks of the season. Yeah, I mean, just to check the playoff standings right now, for the American League, you got the Astros, Yankees, Guardians are leading the divisions. Blue Jays, Rays, Mariners are your wild card teams. The Orioles are 4.5 games back of the final wild card spot. That's a little far. It's a little tough to ask for with 15 games left. I don't know that they're going to be able to do it. The White Sox are just a couple of games back of the Guardians. I think they're like 3 back.
That's not happening.
They're 4 back with 7 with
as much as I would agree that the White Sox needed to win this year. That's not happening. They're a dumpster fire of a team right now.
Yeah. It's just I think they're gonna have to blow up the coaching staff on this one. Tony La Russa it did not work out. They got rid of a guy that was good for somebody who was a legend, and emphasis on the word was.
That whole AL Central is a dumpster fire. He did 1 year.
He had 1 year with the White Sox where they were pretty good, and then when what's his name hit the homer.
Yohan Moncada, who is now he on
the Giants or something?
He's now with the Giants.
Okay. Yeah, so let's just check in on our local teams real quick. The A's went 2-4 last week. They got a split in Texas, 1 game apiece, and then they went to Houston and dropped 3 out of 4. So that's rough. I mean, you got guys making their major league debuts, getting their first career hits. So like you get the feel good stories about that kind of stuff going forward. But it's just, it's a rough end to an abysmal season. And the only thing that we're looking forward to right now is just getting Howard Terminal done at this point.
Breaking news on the AL. The Astros have clinched the AL West with their win over the Rays tonight.
Okay. So there it is. The Houston Trastros are your AL West champions, and they can go suck a nut.
All the nuts.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck them.
Well,
now and forever.
Do you think the A's how many hundreds of games they're gonna lose? Because they're definitely gonna lose 100.
Yeah, I mean they're at 94 losses right now.
So
yeah, I mean, and you've got 15-ish games to go. They're 3-7 in their last 10.
Can we just do this? So we're on the watch of Albert Pujols hitting 700. We're on the watch of Judge hitting 72. No, sorry, 62.
62.
Can we say we're on the watch now to see if the A's will lose 100 games this year?
They're definitely losing 100.
Win. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And what's sad, this is only the second time in A's history this is going to happen. So
yeah. And this is A's history, not Oakland A's history.
Yeah, A's history.
A's history. Talking Philadelphia and Kansas City and
1917.
Oh, wow. That's right.
Well, the other time was it was Dave Stewart was on the team, I believe.
19
wasn't 100.
No, it was an Oakland A's team at 100 losses because Brody Brazil was talking about it.
Oh, I must have missed that.
So
I want to think it was the year right before they like ran the table. I want to say it was 86.
Well, they're definitely going to be in position for a top 2 pick, probably.
We saw how that worked out.
How does the draft work?
It's by record. So I mean, right now Washington has the number 1 pick. They're the worst team. They're 51-95. The A's are about a game and a half back ahead of them. I mean, they're 50.
I just want to put this on the record. The A's top pick is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I just want to put that out.
Yeah, that's a wasted pick. It's probably about time for the A's and Billy Beane to move on. I know we've all said it before, but I think it's time for some fresh blood, and whatever happens. So this next week, the A's have 3 versus Seattle, 3 versus the New York Mets, and then that'll conclude the home portion schedule. So then you got, a couple games on the road, and that'll be it. And As for the Giants, they went 2-4 last week. They won 2 out of 3 against Atlanta, but then got swept by the Dodgers. And then they're this coming week they got 4 on the road in Colorado, 3 on the road in Arizona. Hey Sam, we've been there. Yeah, so it's just another rough season. I mean, we thought that the Giants could possibly sneak in as a sixth, as the 6th seed, as a possible last wild card team, and they're 11 games back. That's not gonna happen. It's they basically really overperformed last year, and it regressed to the far other end of this spectrum. So I think that'll wrap up baseball talk, I think, unless you guys got anything else you want to dive into.
I am good.
Just real quick, Howard Terminal, the city of Oakland is supposed to be coming back to work because they get a big old break. Because that's what government needs to do, is take a break when you have $1 billion deal on the table. They should be coming back. There's supposed to be a meeting in the next week or two about Howard Terminal. So maybe my next show or the next 2 shows, we should have a pretty big update, whether it's good or bad. So keep a ear out for that.
All right. So we've got a couple extra points here. For starters, Brett Favre is a piece of shit.
Oh.
And this isn't just me as a Niners fan saying it because he beat the Niners a few times back in the 90s. No, fuck this guy. He stole $5 million from Mississippi, the poorest state in the fucking union, to fund his daughter's volleyball team because Brett Favre is a piece of shit. And I just keep thinking
Vince has a micro penis.
That's right. Fuck him and his micro penis.
Which
I do want to point out
internet.
I do want to point out that one of the most prolific thing about this whole scandal here is that he literally, with a text message that anyone can read online, he asked the governor of what the fuck is he at?
Mississippi.
He asked the governor, "Do you think the media will find out about this?"
Yeah.
And the governor was like, no, don't worry. We never got caught before.
Doesn't he have 5 million? I mean, come on.
Yes.
Yeah. He made over 100 mil, and he played in the 90s. He didn't play now, so
he definitely made over 5 million with Wrangler's jeans.
Yeah.
I know he made a lot of money.
He definitely made $1 million
Ace
off of
Ventura movie.
Copperfit.
You know what? I'm glad Mary left him in the ditched his ass in There's Something About Mary.
Tim,
Fuck
I don't know
that
if you for real, Tim, I don't know if you know this. It was a few years ago. I think it was Aaron Andrews. He was sending nudie pics to a reporter. I think it was Aaron Andrews. And then the photos got online and it was literally a micro penis.
I don't know if it was Aaron Andrews. I think because Aaron Andrews, she was someone that somebody drilled a hole into her hotel room and took naked pictures.
But you
of her.
Brett Favre was sending.
Yeah, he was sending it to something. I don't know if it was.
And
Aaron
the photos
Andrews,
got out, and he literally was literally a micro penis. Tim,
Dang. Tim, have you ever watched Scary Movie and the scene where the Polaroid picture gets in his locker room? He goes, "Dude, I don't have a small penis. It's a natural thing. That's what it looked like. Just like that."
Yeah. So anyway, Brett Favre is a garbage human being, and
with a small penis.
Yeah,
with a small penis,
and may he rot in hell.
Yeah,
I think this is an extra point, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on this. So NBA midseason tournament, it looks like it's going to happen. It's another way to grab attention for the NBA in a period where there's not a lot of other stuff going on. The NFL is obviously happening in December. But you can snag attention for games here and there throughout the week with the NBA.
I just want to point out that basketball is coming back next month, and I'm super excited about it. And your boy is going to be locked in this year more than he has been, because I'm trying to see what the Warriors can do this year, and I'm very locked in.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. We had other stuff on the docket to talk about, but we're out of time. So I think we're just going to call it a show, gentlemen. So you can follow us on social media at SVT Sports Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We're on YouTube now. You can follow us there, SVT Sports Pod. Send us an email to svtsportspod@gmail.com. Please slide into our DMs, and we look forward to interacting with you. Send us all your fun little videos of kids playing wiffle ball and dad hitting the homers and then pimping the home run like that. That's fun. It's good stuff.
Well, you guys have a good night, man.
It's always been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. We'll talk to you guys later.
All
My
right.
name's Big Sam, and I hit dangers.
With the micro penis. Goodbye, everybody.
Later.